Hey, bestie, hey, you're listening to the Strawberry Patch Podcast.
The Strawberry Patch Podcast is where we give you solid, trustworthy, and raw advice every single week by bringing you effective, real relatable examples to improve your dating experiences, friendships, and marriages.
Be sure to submit your questions, thoughts, and love via email at thestrawberrypatchpodcast@gmail.com. We are your hosts, Jazmine
and Simone.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This episode is super special because we have a submission. So our submission comes from Q, and it reads, Hello. Well, to start off, I'm 17 years old. I dropped out of high school to get into entrepreneurship, real estate, stocks, and dropshipping, and it's been a long 8 months of grinding very, very hard, but I feel stuck and I honestly just hate my environment. It's driving me crazy. I live with my mom, my older sister, and my 4 younger siblings. These past 8 months have been a mental battle with my journey. My mom and my older sister literally stay hating on me and talking down to me, telling me, you can't be rich, or just get a job, why won't you quit, you'll never make enough money. There's just so much hate and doubt when I'm just trying to improve my life for the better. I don't understand why they are so negative. I used to smoke weed and play video games all day, and when I was doing that, they supported me and were all happy. But when I finally want better for myself, now they switch up and stay negative. It makes no sense. Once I quit smoking weed, and sold my PS4 and started focusing on my growing businesses and entrepreneurship, it's like they hate me for it. What can I do? Thank you so much for your submission, Q. This episode is about peer, partner, and family pressure, both negative and positive, and how to move forward. I know that I responded personally to your question already so that you wouldn't have to wait until the podcast aired, but I'm very pleased that you also felt comfortable enough to send your submission in for us to help you and someone else also going through the same or a similar situation. So for anyone else that's listening in, if this story sounds like your own, you'll definitely want to tune in. Peace and love to you on your journey in entrepreneurship, Q, and for sure, you've got this, boo. Hey guys, it is your girl, Jazmine and Simone.
Hey guys.
With the Strawberry Patch.
My bad, I was still trying to get ready, but don't worry about it.
She's okay, y'all. She's ready. So actually, today's conversation is about having partner or spousal or friend peer pressure, which is a thing. So just like how you see how we just started that opening. If you guys are watching the episode, that you got to see, she was trying to get ready because your girl was already ready. But is that a thing where, dang, side eye? Completely. She did not like that, guys.
I was like, where's she going with this?
But it's just like how I'm about to explain it. It's like the peer pressure that you would get from a partner or from your friend because they're already there and doing the things. Do you feel like as a friend it's your obligation then to meet them on that level? So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it in 3 different levels because I feel like there's 3 different stages kind of for peer pressure. You have the friendship peer pressure where it's like, oh, my friend has got engaged, now I got to get engaged. Oh, they're getting married, now I got to get married. Oh, they got a new car, I got to get a new car. Then you have partner. Okay, so partner or spouse. So if you're already in a relationship romantically, then that's, okay, my husband and wife, they got a promotion at their job. Now I need to get a promotion at my job. Or, hey, they're doing, XYZ with their friends and their group of friends. Now I got to do the same thing with my friends. Just leveling up. And then the last part is going to be for siblings, okay, family. So is it peer pressure or, something that you would go for when your sibling has done something or done an accomplishment, or your parents even have done an accomplishment. Hey, they bought a house, together. Is it now your obligation to buy a house because your sister bought a house, or because, everybody else is doing the big things? So I want to go over these things with you. I kind of want your opinion on which ones are healthy or which ones can honestly set you back if that's something that you're really like living your life for.
I think peer pressure from any of those relationships I think there's a healthy form of it, but I think it becomes unhealthy, or it's then classified as unhealthy depending on the person, right? And I say that because if you're in a place where you're already feeling low, where you're already feeling down, or you feel like you can't do it, or you don't have the circumstances that your friends may have to accomplish these goals, then one may say, well, they may take that instead of, yo, like inspiration, yeah, and I'm inspired to do this, they may take it as, well, I'm not there, and then that can turn into jealousy, that can turn into low self-esteem, which low self-esteem is already there. If it turns into
jealousy,
yeah, but it can turn into envy, it can turn into the negative side of it where it becomes unhealthy. So it really depends on the person, and this is where you have to decide what you can share and cannot share. Not everyone is in a position to celebrate you.
Okay.
Even if it's their desire to do so. And not everyone can get to the level in which you're at, because that may not be where they're at capacity wise. Yeah. Because in order to get to where you may be, you have to be somewhere mentally. You have to be somewhere financially sometimes. Yeah. You know, you have to have your group. So it just really depends on the circumstances. But you have to. I think the unhealthy and the healthy depends on the person that's receiving it, or that is being given to.
So it depends on the space of where the person is
of that relationship.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Because I was gonna say, and like I always play devil's advocate, right? So I get where you're coming from too, but also as a person, because it comes from my perspective, right? Being successful, I don't have the capacity always to filter my successes with you. And some things are going to be kind of obvious. Like you're going to see them. You're going to notice that I'm driving a new car. You're going to notice that I have a house. You're going to notice that I'm carrying a child. Those things are noticeable, and those are things that you really honestly can't like shrink back just because you're going around somebody else who may feel peer pressured, even though you didn't even say anything to them to make them feel peer pressured. So
just you being yourself.
Yeah, so like I get both sides of it. And I would say or challenge the person that honestly does turn to being the jealous, the type that doesn't do well with like applauding other people. Hey, look internally. Why is it so hard for you to applaud other people going on their journeys and meeting their own milestones? Why is it so hard for you to actually enjoy being in that space?
And I would even go further to even question if it's really considered peer pressure. Because
in that case,
because think about it, most of the time when you're living your best life and you're sharing the good news or just sharing your life, period, that's not you trying to apply pressure to the person. It's you thinking that you are in a relationship where you can be transparent, open.
Right, with that person.
So that's not peer pressure. Now, it can turn into peer pressure if that person then has some type of self-inflicted issue.
You think?
And now they start comparing.
Okay.
And now they feel the pressure to have to be
like that other person.
Exactly.
Okay, and then on the other side, because I just thought about that when you said that, I said, you know what? Even from the other side of the person that's being successful, if you're presenting your successes in such a way that it's like, I got these, now you get this too, that could also be one of the factors in applying pressure. And no, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
There will not be a time where, even for me, I'm saying, you know, unless it's something healthy, I'm going to always encourage you to do the right thing. But I'm not going to pressure you or push that you have to get these things done just because I did them. That's where I think that line is.
You're not even doing it purposefully. It's just happening.
Yeah.
Right? So I would say, because I feel like in my life, what has helped me to get to a certain point or certain places in my life has been the help of either spoken or non-spoken pressure from the different relationships in my life.
From what you're saying around.
Exactly.
So in some way, shape, or form, you do get the peer pressure from those more successful to you. It's just not. Because when I look at or hear the word peer pressure, it's usually always negative, and I think that's also something. Peer pressure doesn't have to be negative though, either. It could be something positive.
Well,
depending on, like you said, where the person is, though, it's up to whoever's
receiving it or the recipient on the other end. So, like, for example, my niece, I'm not gonna say her name because she probably doesn't want me to,
of course.
But I always, from when she was little, I will always tell her, if you are the smartest person in your group, you need to leave the people you're with. Now, I know some people probably like, that's me. Why would you tell her to do that? Well, I did that because you need to grow.
Yes.
You will not get any higher than your environment.
You need some pressure in order to become a diamond.
You need that higher, right? You need that level of growth, a success that you have not reached or attained, so that you can know how to get there.
Yeah.
Our pastors, hopefully I say this right, but he stated one time, he said, there is a shortcut to life, and that's learning from other people's mistakes. And that's asking questions, paraphrasing, that's pretty much just
allowing them to mentor you.
Exactly. That mentorship come through.
We are always
so why take the long route when you can sit under someone that has gone through all the hardship, all the problems, all the pain, and can give you a shortcut? Look, I've been there. I did. It was test, trial, and proven to be wrong or right, and let's go this way. So with me telling her that, and the point I'm trying to make with that is, you said something earlier. You was like, I think you said along the line of, you want to be around people that are doing better and you, or more successful. And to some people, they may take that as peer pressure. But like I said before, it depends on the recipient, because I wouldn't take that as peer pressure. You got something that I want. So if you're in my life, let's say we started from the bottom together.
Yeah.
And let's say you've obtained something that I have yet to get.
Yes.
Okay, people can call it peer pressure, but for me, I'm gonna take that as, okay, she got it, she can get it, I can get it.
Yep.
Let's see how we do.
It's inspiring.
Well, for the person that's on the other end of it.
If that's how they view it.
Now, you can't tell everybody everything, even those that are close.
So that's actually gonna bring it into the one that I said for the family, right? So family peer pressure, when it comes to those type things, how do you usually handle them, even for yourself? Or how would you advise someone whose family, the ones they grew up with, everyone does not appreciate their accolades or their successes as much as their friends or spouse may? Because that's hard to kind of like navigate when you can't even tell your own family your successes because they view it as negative peer pressure.
That's a sticky one. And the reason why I say it's sticky, because if you are the person that knows your family, then you know, I should say, the environment your family is in. You are aware or present of the circumstances and the lifestyle that they live that cause them to think the way they think. So sometimes I would say there's one end of it where I feel like it's not purposeful, but then there's the other part where it could be. Now, I guess before I proceed, from which point are you talking about? From like the family feeling peer pressure from you as the successor, or is it you feeling peer pressure to be successful because of your family's input?
Oh, that's good. Both of them are accurate. Let's talk about the first one first then. So where you are feeling that you are being pressured because your family is being successful.
If my family is being successful,
and now you feel like, okay,
and I have to
because they all are.
I mean, you should want to be successful, but that doesn't mean you have to do it
too much. Because you legit have families, and I've never been a part of one that's like extreme like that. But there are some that are literally, they're like triathlon marathoners where they're like, success, if you aren't a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, you don't mean anything to us.
That's true.
So that's an extreme way that I feel like
when
people may be experiencing that.
When it starts, and that's a really good point. When it starts impeding on your peace,
oh my gosh,
and on your happiness, because everyone, it's your life, right? Even if you was born with a twin or whatever, y'all had to take turns coming out. So I mean, so you're still your own person.
Yes.
And you're still living your own life. Nobody can live your life for you. Nobody's in your body. So although you may be in a family that's very successful, everyone's a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, someone of a high profession, even if that's the case, and let's say you're not trying to go that route, if you're feeling that peer pressure from your family to go that route, then I think you need to take a step back and then now analyze what you want, because you can get yourself out of that. Now there's some people, like you said, if they're not living that life, then they kind of disown them, or they look down on them. But this is what I would say to that person: success is different for everybody.
It is.
And you can go to school for years and become a doctor, become a lawyer, be all of that, and still be struggling to pay them loans off, still be struggling with your personal life, still be struggling with wanting to live and happiness, struggling with relationships. You got diseases. It doesn't care your profession. It's what my dad always used to say this: do not be a public success and a private failure. So always, like, if you are a person feeling pressured by your family, like, and I hate to say it this way, but he also told me you have to have a, you know, F you in your back pocket for people. And I just got to say it raw, and, you know, I try to be mindful. But you have to, because people are going to try to tell you how to live your life when they are struggling in their own. Stop being a public success and a private failure. If you're not happy at the end of the day, look, for example, Steve Jobs, and I know we're going left, but this man built when I say a very... y'all know the business this man had. Yes. I mean, his idea was just so futuristic, and it's just so innovative. It was literally the starting of a new level in technology, right? And this man put his all creativity and started this empire just to die from cancer. Right. And there was not any money in the world that could have helped that man. Now, it may have extended his life with the medicine that they provide, but it could not keep his life. Yep. So that being said, I understand that peer pressure from family could be very hard, but you have to look within yourself and say, you know what, forget this, because they could be grinding every day, working that 9 to 5, that 12-hour, 14-hour shift, and you can hit the lotto one day. You be more rich than they are. All of it. You can literally do something creative, because I will also speak to the creatives out there. Yes. I'm a creative. Same. But then I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So for me, it's like, okay, I can start my own business, and that's just something I want to do. But I'm a creative. What if my family wasn't a creative? What if they was more, you know...
What if they were more professional?
Exactly. And it's kind of like, that's boring to me. You know, so be creative. If you are one, do what you're doing. Be the best at it. Master that. And shut the mouths of your haters, even if it's your family.
Right? And if you guys want, again, Simone and I are creatives, and I'm an entrepreneur. She also is an entrepreneur. If you need a friend, bestie, we are here for you. We are family. Now, that actually brings us to the last one for this peer pressure talk.
Hold on. I just want to say this too. To the family that's peer pressuring your people, stop it.
Stop it.
Because you didn't like it when people did it to you, don't do it to them. Now, granted, certain life decisions help you in the long run, so you probably just have the best interest at heart for your people. But be careful, because instead of you building them up, you're probably tearing them down silently, and you don't even know that. So now, while you're not seeing them, they're probably in the background smoking weed, having sex, drinking, trying to do something to fulfill this level of accomplishment or disappointment, because they feel like, yo, my family is not supportive. They're not like don't do that. You love them, then just love them. Love them for what they are now. I'm not saying no pressure is not good. Right. Sometimes you need to apply it. You know, apply that pressure
where needed.
Okay.
But be mindful, and be really honestly mentally in tune with yourself and where your pressure is coming from. That's it.
That part. Proceed what you was gonna say. I just want to say that.
So the last part is, of course, the peer or partner pressure. That's the last one. Partner pressure, where it's from your spouse or your significant other. Now, because there's two different stages, right? Because when you're in a dating relationship, you kind of still have a way out. You know, like, whatever. If someone else is going way ahead, you're like, hey, I don't really want to grow with you. So, you know, y'all just separate ways. But what happens when you're married and you're growing spiritually or physically or mentally, and that other person is not? Because we've heard about it, you know, in church and different things where sometimes that happens. So what do you do to, like, get that equilibrium back? Like, because you're already married. So how would you go about trying to trying to fix it. I mean, a lot of people, and especially like if someone could, because I'm asking myself this as well, and because I'm married, I have a little bit more insight. Mm-hmm. But it's I would beg to say to that person, because a lot of people have been asking. That was one of the questions that was submitted in. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do as a married person? And so my advice to that person would just be, you have to find counseling, and you have to find counseling from someone who is past what you guys are past. Okay. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will go to their ministers or whatever the case may be, churches, whoever it is. But even that minister or that pastor hasn't even gone past that portion. They may be two separate, like, husband and wives, because sometimes I've seen it where husbands and wives, even in the church realm, the husband will not be as involved in the church as much as the wife, and vice versa. The wife is the one that's like heavily into church and the husband's not, or the husband really is and he's all, gung-ho for God, and the wife is not. So is that some place where you would think, divorce is an option? Because, like, in order for you guys to progress, y'all have to be at some point on the same page, or at least trying, like, if that other spouse is not trying. So is it just like we said for the friendships, right? When that husband or that wife starts applying that pressure to say, hey, you need to come up to this level, I need you to get up to this level, is it negative or positive in that way?
Man, okay, so you'll probably give more insight on that part because you're married. However, I would only hope and suspect that that's going to be a conversation you have before marriage, because you have to understand each other's mindset about life, right? All right, so I dated this guy once, and we attempted to do business together. Now, I'm the type of person where if I have the idea and I can find the means of getting it done, I'm not waiting to pull a plug. I'm doing it. I'm gone. I'm gone. Like, let's get this moving. Okay. Whereas that person was more of like, no, let's consider, let's plan, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I wasn't in the planning phases, but definitely want to contemplate. Nah, let's keep it moving, make the decision. But they wanted to really wait. Exactly. So that didn't work so well for our business, because I felt like where we could have taken opportunities, we was wasting time. And I felt, and the other person felt like, well, maybe I was making a lot of hasty decisions, spontaneous decisions, messing up. And needless to say, I mean, the company started, but it didn't last long, obviously, because the house divided won't last. But for me, when you're about to be married or in a relationship with a significant other, that's a conversation you want to have off rip. Like, what's your goals in life? What are you trying to get to? How are you trying to get there? And then you also want to give each other grace. And I think this is important because as you are married, from what I've been told and just learning from other married couples that I'm around, you guys change. We all change as people. You really do. And so the person that you married in year one may not be the person that is still there in year two. So you guys will always have to come back and revisit that point. And I think if you guys ultimately, the basis of, we want to be successful, we want to live a comfortable life, whatever success is to you, because everybody's definition of success different, or how it looks is different. So whatever that is for you and your partner, and as long as you still like, I still want that, then there's hope. And now you just have to reconfigure your process in getting there. Now, if your partner is like, okay, this is where I'm at, I've reached this goal, what are you doing? I think at one point it could be healthy, because that's your accountability partner. Yeah. That's your accountability partner. I mean, now if this person is being an a-hole about it,
yes, that's what I was about to say. If they're doing it toxically, whereas every 5 seconds, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? Or is that goal done? Is this one done? Or that is a lot. Unless that's how y'all do your relationship, and y'all, again, she's right. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to counseling and how you guys have actually had those conversations together prior to your marriage and during your marriage. And I honestly, like, okay, so it's crazy because my aunt, she shared this with us, or with me, on a lunch, and apparently her and her husband, my uncle, Don't say my ass. My uncle, her and my uncle, they actually have weekly meetings together.
Nice.
Like for separate one for business. It's not a date. It's for business. So that way they know what are the goals that each one of them has in their business. And I said, you know what? That's the most beautiful thing I have ever heard, because as an entrepreneur myself and my husband being an entrepreneur, sometimes we're just so much on the go and we're like, accomplishment after accomplishment, thing after thing. We don't get a chance to stop and say, oh, you know what? You did do that in your business. Congratulations. Yeah. Oh, you did do that. Okay. I see you, boy. I see you.
Or even to give ideas on how to improve.
Yes. And that's like unmatched. So when it comes down to the marriage type of peer pressure, it can be a good thing if you know how to use it. And so I would definitely advise you guys, like, make sure that you evaluate the type of pressure that you are applying to each one of your relationships when it comes to your peers, whether that peer is your partner, that peer is your friend, or that peer is your family.
And remember, the key word here is partner. Because unless this person has completely gone rogue, I'm pretty sure this person wants the very best for you.
Yes.
And as far as communication wise and learning how to speak to each other, that's the totality of the relationship. However, your partner is there. Your partner is not necessarily always going to be ice cream and cake.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something, piggybacking on what you mentioned before, like someone that's constantly toxic with how they're approaching you with pressure. That to me is micromanaged, and I don't do good with that. I will look at you real crazy and walk out. I don't do good with that. Like, trust me
that I know
that I'm going to be able to do it. And if I don't know how to do it, then trust that I'm going to come and ask. But this is where you have your partner, right? Your partner in crime, your partner in business, your partner in life. Like, this is where you guys bounce ideas off each other. Give constructive criticism. This is where you improve and apply that little pressure, and iron sharpens iron.
It does. Oh my gosh, I love that. See, that's something that we need to take back. We need to come out with a t-shirt, so we're gonna do that maybe by the next episode.
Yes.
Iron sharpens iron, y'all. And at the end of the day, good pressure is honestly going to help you grow. It's not there to hurt you. Exactly. And you'll know the difference. Like she said, at the end of the day, you need to look at it. If that pressure is impeding on your peace, it's not good pressure. It's really not.
And before we go, I want to speak on the person who is not being an a-hole. That person who is literally checking in. Hey, how's your business going? I can help. What's going on, because you are at a certain point in your life and you want your partner, whether it be friendship, family, or significant other, to kind of reach that goal too.
Yes.
Because one thing Jazmine told me in the early part of our relationship, and I was already there, so when she said it, I was like, okay, cool. But no, she was like, because she said, I pray about like us and our friendship, and and she was like,
I don't know why she had to put a voice like that for me though.
And she was like, and this is where I want to see us. This is the vision I have for myself, and this is the vision I have for my friends. And she's like, honestly, if like by 2 years from now you're not at a certain place, then fam, we're gonna have to reevaluate that relationship. And I'm like,
we've been friends for
look
3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Almost
and I'm like,
fam.
So like I could.
Oh my gosh.
I could have been like, oh, that was pressure, but that don't move me. I was like, first of all,
unbothered.
I was so unbothered, but I appreciated her sharing that because it lets me know that she's a go-getter too. And I think in the early part of when we was doing the podcast, we spoke about that. Like, we're two people that want so much out of life, and she's a go-getter, and I admire that. And that has inspired me to even go harder for what I want and what I'm trying to do. That's why, like, I think this is the first episode of this year. We spoke about how Jazmine was so supportive when I decided to go back to school.
Yes, yeah.
And I love that. I love the energy she gives me. It's
so
my juice to my whatever you want to call it. But having that type of relationship has helped and pushed me. But for those that are like Jazmine and want to make sure that you guys are successful in life, and that person hears all of it but has not responded and does not want to change, does not want to do anything,
it's okay to take a step back.
take the step back and go get counseling so you can make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I would not want you guys to do is to be held back because of somebody's own personal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, that's what that is. They feel some type of way. They may be intimidated by your success, so they don't see your help or your pressure as help, but they see it as you're judgmental.
Ooh.
They see it as being criticizing them, being critical of their life. They may see that as total negativity because of how they're perceiving it. You have to learn how to, okay, perfect example. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We all drink water, or at least we should, right? The water that we drink today, I mean, if we live in Orlando, Florida, I don't know anyone that's actually drinking water from the faucet.
Oh my God, please don't.
You're getting bottles of water from the store, or you may have
Fiji.
Yeah, or some type of like filtering system on the faucet where you can have clear water. So you have to filter out. You're going to drink the water, but you have to filter out that water.
That's good.
Right? So you have to, they need to filter out
the pressure, the type of pressure. Y'all, put your filter on for the pressure that you're receiving. Like I said, always just make sure it's coming from a place that doesn't disturb your peace.
I mean, for real, y'all. Because don't let nobody hold you back.
At all. Ever. Ever. And with that, you guys, remember, VeggieTales has no strawberries. Love y'all.
Love you. Hey, bestie. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share a review.
If you're not already following us on social media, you can find us at THA_strawberry patch on Instagram and TSP_podcast on TikTok. You can also check out our exclusive podcast apparel and gifts on our website at tspodcast.com. Just click on podcast and shop. Remember, any relationship is what you make it.
So do all that you can to live in peace with everyone.